buenas a todos. Te doy la bienvenida a una nueva entrevista aquí en Músicos en Canal, este espacio donde juntamos las palabras con el lenguaje musical para hablar con músicos profesionales sobre comunicación, emociones, persuasión, modulación emocional, creatividad, inspiración y además les retamos a ciertos improvisados desafíos musicales y nos adentramos un poco en cómo viven la música ellos desde dentro y desde el escenario. La entrevista de hoy viene calentita y picantona porque vamos a hablar, entre otras muchas cosas, de erotismo. ¿Y por qué vamos a hablar de erotismo? Porque nos vamos a sumergir en el sonido del saxofón de un gran saxofonista desde Washington. Demos la bienvenida a Ted Baker. Ted, hello, welcome. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks so much for having me. Appreciate it.
I'm very happy to have you here, and I was excited about talking with you, and I'm sure we're gonna have a very, very interesting conversation. But before we start, let me introduce you a little bit. Ted, you have worked with many great artists, such as Barry Harris, George Duke, David Sanborn, John Faddis, Arturo Sandoval, among many, many, many other big names and orchestras. You travel a lot from gig to gig. You also teach sax with online and face-to-face classes. Mm-hmm. Whoa, I hope you take vacations sometimes to rest because your life is a non-stop.
But it's a lot of fun. Muy divertido. So I think having that fun and loving the music and loving the audiences and seeing a student really grow makes me want to do more, you know?
Yeah, it stimulates you, I guess. You know, it's like
inspiration.
Yeah, I guess. Well, Ted, you were born into a musical family. And your mother played piano, and you started to play piano when you were like 6 years old or so, if I'm right. Although you switched to saxophone when you were 10 years old or so, and your first saxophone teacher was your grandmother, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to stop here because I'm sure people is watching this video is going to be fascinated with your grandmother because she was self-taught. She played saxophone. She was a singer. She played violin, guitar, piano, trumpet, organ, vibes, and even cowbells.
Cowbells, yep.
She had a gift for music, I guess. She was a super grandmother.
Yeah, she was out of the Depression. 1920s, 1930s, very hard time in the United States. People who had money, all of a sudden, no money at all, And she turned to music and just kept touring. She toured with a band called the Melody Messengers. So they played all around and mostly from their car, like they would have like a van and you'd go into a town and you'd set up a performance and then people would give you a little money and then she'd move to the next town, next town, next town. Lots of circuses, like near a circus, but they did their own show, or she'd play in a church. She did a lot of gospel music.
Mm-hmm.
So when she got older, I started saxophone when I was 10 and she was, I want to say she was 80 or 81 years old. So I started piano actually a little earlier, like when I was like 2, 3 years old is when I started. And so when I got the saxophone, she was like, "Oh, I haven't played saxophone in a while. Let me help you." And then she put it together with me, and then she started showing me what to do, like immediately. So, and I remember she played a song called Safari, and it was an old like Tin Pan Alley song that not a lot of people would know. It's like pre Duke Ellington, like really old,
Mm-hmm.
really, a lot of old standards like before. So she had these songs that she would know that were popular, not only in as standards of American culture, also jazz standards, but she knew gospel tunes, like every church hymn you could think of, and she knew all the lyrics too. She could sing every verse. she had, she was like just everything was there. It was unreal.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And then the when she would play saxophone, it was like she changed into a different person. It was really interesting. So when she played each instrument, she did what she needed to do for each instrument.
It's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. I think it's very hard to play well just one instrument. So I can imagine playing all of those that she played.
I think I don't know. I mean, she told me that a lot when they were in the car. She'd be practicing like all the time, just playing and playing and playing. So by the time they got to the next town, she might have learned more songs. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is. And Ted, you started playing the piano and you switched to saxophone. Why did you choose saxophone instead of piano or any other instrument instead?
I had one older brother that played trombone, and I had an older brother that played trumpet. I wanted to play the drums, but my parents were like, no. So I was like, what about saxophone? And they were like, okay. So that's how it happened. Like, pretty much that easy. That's just how it happened. I like the sound of the saxophone. I was like blown away the first time I heard somebody play it live. Besides my grandma, I heard some other people play. Um, I was lucky enough to see, there's a show in the United States that is called Sesame Street. I don't know if you ever heard this. It's like for little kids. But I saw Grover Washington on that show. I'll never forget. I was a young little guy, practicing piano at that point, and I was like, "Ooh, that sounds cool." And then, I heard when I was 8 years old, I heard Stan Getz with Dizzy Gillespie.
Mm.
I thought it was the coolest thing I've ever seen.
I guess.
It was Stan Getz, Dizzy Gillespie. Al McKibben was playing bass. A young James Williams was on piano on that tour, and this is what I found out later. And on drums was Art Blakey, and it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. So hearing that and hearing the specifically the tenor saxophone, just the way Stan was playing and how cool everything was, it hit me in a way. So when my brothers had already started at that point, I was still on piano. So when I was about 10, that's when I picked. I was like, if I can't do drums, I think I want to do that.
Well, I saw a video in your Instagram. You were playing drums, and I guess you like drums, but I didn't know that your first choice was drums.
Yeah, drums are right here. I have them in the closet. I'll be setting them up here again soon for another rehearsal here.
Well, anyway, Ted, your grandmother was also a musician. Your mother played piano. You play saxophone. Two brothers. Your daughter plays saxophone too, and your son plays piano, if I'm right. So, what do you eat for breakfast in your family to have this talent?
My daughter has stopped playing saxophone. She turned 13 and she was like, "No more." And I was like, "Okay, I don't want to force her." So my son's still playing piano. And as far as breakfast goes, boy, try to eat healthy. Try to eat good food. Maybe I forgot how you say it. The espresso in Spain.
El cortado.
Cortado. And good to go.
Well, very good. Good breakfast. Then we're gonna talk about saxophone. Do you think that tenor saxophone and jazz are like a unbreakable marriage?
Tenor saxophone, specifically tenor?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that they are definitely an unbreakable marriage. Yep, absolutely. I'd say key instruments in jazz. Yeah, tenor saxophone is definitely right up there with some of the biggest innovators in jazz. So um, yes, tenor saxophone is definitely unbreakable marriage. Plus, it's shaped like a J.
Yeah.
Kind of shaped like a J.
Well, when I was a child, I don't know in the United States, but here in Spain, it was very difficult to find children or teenagers who played saxophone. It was very usual to see children playing piano, or violin, or guitar, but not saxophone. So when I found someone who played saxophone, I always asked him to play a very, very, very popular tune. Do you imagine which one is it?
I would have to ask you how old you are, but I won't ask you how old you are. But there's a lot of pop tunes that have saxophone on them.
Well,
There's a lot of children's shows with saxophone on them, such as boy, The Simpsons.
no.
The Simpsons? No, it's not The
No,
Simpsons.
it's not the systems, but I'm sure you know it. So, listen, give me a second. Um, I'm sure you know it. You know it, right?
The Pink Panther, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now I have the opportunity to ask to a great saxophone player to play the Pink Panther. So this is the first music challenge. You have the track. It's the number one I sent you yesterday. So I asked you to play along with that.
You tell me what you think. Maybe here? All right.
Oh, bravo, 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 bravissimo, bravissimo.
That was funnier training.
Did you like it?
I haven't played that in forever. I don't know what's happening in the middle, so it's fun to
It
just
was great, 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 great. It's amazing seeing you playing here right now. Wow. Thank you very much. Bravo, bravo.
My pleasure.
We'll have another music challenge a little bit later.
Oh, okay.
But now I'm gonna ask you something. Well, what I'm gonna do is name you some great tenor saxophone players that I'm sure you know, of course, because they left their mark in jazz. And I want you to describe them or tell a word or a sentence about them or their music or their style. Wherever the word or sentence it comes to your mind when you think about them. Okay?
Okay.
Let's see. Coleman Hawkins.
Coleman Hawkins. Man. The tune that there was a bunch of tunes I got into of Coleman Hawkins, and a bunch of transcriptions I had to do. But what put him on the map for, I want to say, like people like my grandmother way back in the day was his version of Body and Soul. His version of Body and Soul was like if you go into a restaurant and there's a jukebox there, you put your well, back then maybe a nickel, or I don't know how much it was back then. It would be Coleman Hawkins' Body and Soul as one of the selections. It was that famous. It was amazing. Like he played so well on that. But then listening to Coleman Hawkins on so many different bands and hanging in there, even with like Thelonious Monk when he was recording with Thelonious Monk, with Sonny Rollins when he was recording with Sonny Rollins, he stayed kind of like right with the current thing of what was happening. He was always like a strong player, you know, big in his time, and then stayed with the younger generations after, which was really cool to me. It was amazing transcribing him, getting his vibrato and his dark, warm sound was so much fun to really embrace for a while. You know, I really got into Coleman Hawkins for a good long time. There's a song with him and Roy Eldridge, and I'm trying to remember the name of it right now. Beanstalking. It's called Beanstalking. It's so good. It's like one of the funnest songs I've heard a lot of people play. It's like out of the swing thing, but it's so much fun to hear. I could just see people dancing to it, and then them blowing amazing solos. So much fun. So much fun.
Okay, next one. Stan Getz.
I think I mentioned it earlier that he was the first, well, not the first, but one of the few sax players that I first saw when I was like 7, 8 years old live, and it influenced me of the way he was really cool, the way he was with the other members in the band, and his artistry and his command was beautiful. So as I got back into him and I got older and I was studying and Coleman and doing a ton of Charlie Parker and a ton of other saxophonists, and then I got into checking out Stan and transcribing. An album that blew my mind was an album called Sweet Rain. Sweet Rain. It's a great album. It's got tunes on there that some tunes were written by Chick Corea. And Ron Carter's on bass, and Grady Tate's playing drums. And Grady, he sounds like, man, so amazing on this album. I love Grady Tate's playing. So I heard a lot of Grady Tate playing with Stanley Turrentine, Jimmy Smith, and Kenny Burrell. That quartet with Grady Tate. Grady's playing is amazing, and hearing him with Stan on this album is a totally, you can tell I'm still thinking drums, right?
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, So I just love that album, and I love the songs on it. And Stan is playing so well on this album. It's like it's unreal. He just came on. He just got back to New York. Grady told me he just got back to New York. He went straight to the studio from Europe, straight to the studio, did the session, and was out. He didn't even like say bye to the other musicians. It was that fast, and it was that good of a recording.
Wow.
I was like, wow, okay. So
Well, another one, Sonny Rollins.
yeah, Sonny's the man. Sonny, Sugar Hill, Harlem. He and Jackie McLean were just they're huge influences on me
Mhm.
and on all sax players that really want to. I think you can't just forget Sonny or forget other players. Like you need to check them out. They're a whole school in their own right. You know, Sonny at a very young age, different sound, and then Sonny as you listen to him going into the '60s and the bridge, and when he took a break from playing saxophone and then coming back to it, he's developed all along, and his versions of calypso and jazz, I love it. I just absolutely, he's I've transcribed a ton of Sonny Rollins, a lot of Sonny Rollins, a lot of his trio recordings in particular, because he blows a lot more on those, so I could get a lot more language from those albums, you know. So
Okay, the last one, Lisa Simpson.
Lisa Simpson, interesting. I'm trying to do. Did you know who played saxophone on most of those parts?
No, I don't know.
I forgot. I used to know, and I forgot. It's in the. You can look it up on who's in the band for the Simpsons recordings. But on baritone saxophone, she sounds great. Whoever's playing those parts, it's a lot of fun, and I think it adds a lot to the culture of the U.S. watching The Simpsons, where Lisa's talking about Tito Puente. She's bringing up other musicians, master musicians of the day. Charlie Parker. She mentioned Dizzy Gillespie. Who else did she mention? I don't think she said John Coltrane, but she may have. I don't know. But it was nice that she kept pushing that out there. She brought up, I think in one of the episodes, she brings up Mario Bauza, Cuban trumpet player.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
I think she brings up Mario Bauza and maybe Machito as well. So yeah,
Good.
I
Good.
think it's good to put that in mainstream, of anybody who's watching that show.
Yeah.
Keep those artists in mind and knowing that there's a sax player that is in a cartoon.
Right.
Hmm.
Well, Ted, I'm gonna ask you something about music and emotions, if you want to, because with music and emotions are very, very connected.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna start with asking you, saxophone players usually on the stage, you are in the front part of the stage, so you can see people faces and their reactions, and you can notice the energy. um, the question is, if you ever have noticed like a low energy or some apathy, and you have modified your way of playing saxophone because of the energy you have noticed in the audience.
So have I changed what I'm doing for the
Yeah,
audience?
if you change what you are doing on the stage, if you see some reactions that you don't like, or whatever.
Yeah, that's a good question. I always have thought of when you perform, there's two places. There's the stage, and then there's the audience,
Hmm.
right? Only two. There's really only two. That's it. So whatever's happening on the stage is when you're in a performance, that's what's most important. Because if the audience is there and they're just kind of sleepy,
Hmm.
falling asleep, whatever, You can't worry. It's like, to me, it's all about how the musicians, how I'm playing, how they feel, how I can make this drummer sound amazing, how he can make me sound amazing, how I can make this percussionist sound good, how she can help me. It's like a he, she, what can we do to have a good time and then let that spill over into the audience.
Okay.
So to me, if I see the audience like zoned out, I I gotta, if it's my gig, if I'm leading the gig, I may do something quick, like
Mm-hmm.
fast, like, okay, let's not do this song, let's do this song instead. But if I'm, with like when you saw me with Arturo, I don't know what we're playing next. I can't control. So he's reading the audience, or he's sticking to a set that he wants to play, you know. So he might be adjusting a little bit of energy, you know. I could, if it's really like, I don't know, like the audience doesn't seem to be in it, I might during my solo try to like really go and then keep pushing and then keep pushing and then do something rhythmic and then play a high note and hold it and let the band be like, and then see what the audience does. Then, if the audience still has no reaction, I'm not worried. I'm more worried about the musicians on the stage and what that is happening. So there's only two vibes: there's stage, audience. If we're having a blast and they're like, yeah, yeah, and they're having a great time, and I start going, then that's going to be much better. Yep.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. This is
So
very interesting.
then if I worry about what's happening, if I worry about what's happening, then I need to do my job. My job is
Yeah.
playing.
It's very interesting because the communication with the audience is important, but the communication on the stage is even more important.
Yeah, I want it to be.
What happens between all of you?
Yeah, like I want it to flow out from the stage, so people are like, "Whoa, yes, yes." I've been in situations where the audience was very, how do you say, conservative?
Mm-hmm.
Like very.
See, yeah, yeah, like very right. Okay.
Like very quiet, very quiet. But they were listening to everything and were super attentive and loved it, and they didn't show much energy. But then at the end of the night, they were like clapping and clapping and clapping and clapping, like for 5 minutes. You know,
Oh,
they wanted more songs, and we're like, "Did you guys just wake up? I mean, you need to sleep, So I think it just kind of depends on maybe the location. Like, how are the people? Are the people more reserved? Are they, So I like to talk to audiences and joke with them. You saw a lot of joking on that, right? Arturo was joking with the
yeah,
audience.
he did. He
Yeah.
did. Yeah. It was like one tune, one joke, one tune, one joke. It was like
Yeah, that's kind of how I like to do things when I'm leading trio or quartet or quint. Like I have like different groups I lead, and I like to do that as well. So it's a lot of fun,
yeah.
to mess with the audience, you know. Or just someone will be sitting there and you're like, "Can I help you?" It's hilarious. And everybody just starts laughing, It's a good time. It's good.
That's good. Okay, Ted. Jazz has a lot of improvisation. You improvise a lot in jazz music, right? And the improvisation, I guess, it has technique, so you can practice the improvisation. But I want to ask you if the technique is enough, or your ability to imagine and the creativity is even more important than the technique, or not?
I think it's hand in hand. I don't think it's one or the other.
Okay,
You know what
both.
I mean? I think it has to be both. Like you can't just play from like a spiritual place
Mm-hmm.
and not have any technique um, to pull off the what you're hearing inside your head. Like your idea, if you don't have the technique to pull off the idea, it's just gonna, you know, it's just kind of gonna go someplace. Um, I've noticed in some music there's so much technique that the other thing that you're saying, the soul and stuff like that, kind of gets lost as well. So you don't want to just be all technique, 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 fast, 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 or very virtuosic, virtuosic.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you want to you want to have a balance, I think, of both. You know, because if you're gonna lose, you're gonna lose some audience if you're all technique. You're gonna lose people who like to hear like soul and spirit, and you know. But if you're just playing only soul and you have no technique and you're messing up, then you're gonna lose all that other audience that appreciates you know, a lot of practice and a lot of hard work on getting your craft together and your instrument and your scales and you know articulation and you know all that
So the balance. It has to be
balance.
balanced.
Yeah, it can't be just one or the other. It's to me it's a balance. Yes.
Okay. Ted, we're gonna rise the temperature of this interview
Oh.
because saxophone is very associated to eroticism. If you look, you see in Spotify and Apple Music, you can find playlists with these names. This is real. Sexy sax for lovers, sax appeal, erotic sax. And in the 70s, the film industry used the saxophone. I tell you, we're going to raise the temperature. Well, the film industry used the saxophone to anticipate sex scenes in movies. And the thing is, reading about this, I discovered that in 1914, the Pope banned and forbade the saxophone. And in 1925, the Washington Police Department said that any music played with a saxophone is immoral. And the Ladies' Home Journal said that people who listen to saxophone music lost their faculty to distinguish between the good and evil. So, why do you think saxophone is so connected with erotism? Is because of the sound, or why?
I think there's a lot of history of this instrument and piano too. Really, there's a lot of piano in those places as well, in a lot of different brothels. And during that time, and the word jazz came out of this, and it's not. I don't like using that term too much. I like using. To me, it's a lot of Black American music. That's what it is. It's Black American music.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way to get around or even think of without truly embracing the history of that it is Black American music. To me, it's you know this name jazz came out and it's been labeled that and it's easy to just keep that going and it's you know that's it is what it is um, but the sound from what I have gathered from checking it out and the history um, this history of the saxophone originally when it was invented in Belgium, not France, in Belgium.
Oh,
When it was first invented, it was used for people who had problems breathing.
oh, really?
Doctors used to use it and prescribe saxophone practice to their patients, and it would help with their lungs. So we're talking. I might have my history wrong. I think it's around in the 1800s. So we had different things going on then with people that were having you know a lot of breathing issues And I'm trying to remember exactly. It's not plague. It's something else. Something was going TB, tuberculosis, maybe.
Yeah,
Something else that
yeah,
was going around.
something like that. Yeah.
It would help them in their recovery to practice saxophone, to play long tones, and hold breath as long as possible. So that was that, right? And then you get into the 1900s, and people started using them more and more in brothels, this and that and the other. The blues and all this was coming together, and yeah, they wanted people to play faster, harder, like play all this stuff, and so we can get more prostitutes working in here. And that was that history of playing hot, play hot, play hot, play hot, you know. And I think the musicians that were playing in those places, they were doing what they had to do. But I know a lot of other sax players who also came up playing at different clubs, strip clubs, and things like that. And they
Right.
blew solos all night long, playing, playing, playing all night long. So there's a lot of that in the States all around. I was talking to I don't want to say his name. He's a very well known sax player out of New York. Um, and he was telling me about a gig he used to have in the 70s. And it went into a little bit in the 80s where he called it a blowing gig. So he had to blow a lot, just played a lot of solos and stuff, and looked at the dancers, and they'd be taking their clothes off and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But he was like, I was like, so what was that like? Because when I got to be playing, all that stuff was pretty much done. There was not really much of that happening anymore. He was like, actually, everybody was very professional. I was like, really? Okay, But it's been definitely associated with all that kind of culture and
Yeah.
an underground culture of that for a long time. And I think it's kind of carried its weight now where people look at it and they're like, yeah. So that's where I think you're talking about temperature and things like that. It's still the history of how this instrument has been used is still there. Yes. But now if we look into all the amazing things and compositions and the actual virtuosity of all the players out there, Mark Turner, Melissa Aldana, everybody, you kind of forget about that that history.
Well, that's a great answer. I like the reason you gave. It's like makes sense at all.
Yeah.
So Ted, now we're having about this confess. How many times have you used this power in your life?
In my life? Oh man. It's a power? Is it a power, really?
I think it's a power.
I have not used this power. I like to just perform and have a good time, and then aside from if I'm off the stage and there's a hangout, then I'll hang out. But I'm not. Yeah, I don't walk up to somebody playing
Okay.
sit on their lap.
They happen. Just ask.
Come down off the stage. I mean, if it's a fun thing or someone's birthday, sure, I'll mess around. I've done some things like that before. Yeah, I was at a wedding. I had a wedding job one time, and I was playing, and they wanted us to walk with the people, and there was a photographer, and the bride came over. She's like, I love the saxophone. And she put her hand around me and like gave me a kiss. I'm like, look, I'm playing. And she's like giving me a kiss here. And I'm like, what are you doing? You just got married. And her husband was like, yeah. Just, they're just partying Americans. So
That's fun.
somewhere there's a picture. I don't know where it is. I've never seen it, but yep. Yeah, I was like, just got married too. I'm like, what are you doing? So funny.
Yeah, it's very funny.
My husband was like, yeah.
Well, now we're talking about this. We're going with the second music challenge. So you're gonna play again.
Okay.
I'll tell you, I explain you. You're gonna play along with a blues track. It's the second one that you have. Blues music was born like some kind of sad music, a little bit sad. But with the time, it got some erotic air. So you're gonna play a blues tune.
Here we go. Let's do this. Challenge number 2.
Challenge number 2. Bravo, bravo, bravo. Wow. It was great. It was amazing, Ted.
Well, that was a surprise, but cool. That was interesting. I like the feel of that.
Great. I'm happy you like it. A lot. Ted, I have a question. It's almost mandatory to ask you. Charlie Parker said that he could fly on the stage while he was playing. Do you ever fly, or do you have like flying on the stage at any time?
Yeah, sometimes I do not feel like I'm there. I don't feel like I'm there at all. Like I'm in some other place when I'm playing. It's a nice feeling to be in that. Like there's a word we say zone, like to be in the zone.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in the zone, it just things are happening, and you also are conscious to pull the brakes. You got to pull the brakes, and then go and then pull the brakes, But it's nice to find that spot and just be in flight, Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
So nice, so pretty,
yeah,
beautiful.
Yeah, I never heard that quote. That's interesting.
It's very, I guess it's very beautiful to feel that.
Yes.
Ted, we are almost at the end of the interview. Ooh, but before we go, I have another challenge for you.
Uh-oh.
This is a very special challenge because it's a quiz. A quiz with 6 questions. 2 about jazz, 2 about saxophone, and 2 about general music knowledge.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay. I have my pen here ready to write down your fails and your right answers. So let's see how you do it. Ready?
Okay. I'm ready.
Okay. Let's go with the first one. And Ted, I warn you with this one. Will Bram and Mark Walker failed this one, so be careful.
Wow.
Let's see. When I saw you in Valladolid with Arturo Sandoval, you played a little bit of Hot House. So the question is, who was the composer of Hot House?
Tad Dameron.
Yeah!
That's funny. They didn't get it?
They said Gigi Gillespie.
No, it's Tad Dameron.
Yeah, right. Very good, very good.
Tad with 2 D's.
I'll tell them. I'll tell them later. I'll write them and say,
Yeah.
Ted knew this one.
Any tune by Tad, usually I remember because Tad has 2 D's, I have 2 D's. So I checked out all these.
That's right. Okay, let's see the second one. This one is one question, but it has 2 questions inside. So its answer is worth half a point. So let's see. July 7th, 1956. Duke Ellington Orchestra had a gig in Newport in Long Island. At the moment, the swing was not so popular because of the arrival of bebop and hard bop and cool. And at the beginning of the performance, the audience was like sleepy, like a little bit bored. So Duke Ellington noticed that, and he started to play a different tune, and people like a lot. And at that tune, there was a saxophone player who played a solo of 6 minutes and a half. So, first question.
Go ahead.
What's the name of the tune?
Yep. Diminuendo and crescendo in blue.
Whoa, very good, very good. You are doing great. And the second question, what's the name of the saxophone player?
Paul Gonzalez.
Oh, very good, very good. You are doing very good.
Good. That's a very good question because that's a great album.
I'm glad you like it.
I checked that out a lot. Yeah.
Okay, the third one. Could you tell me who was the composer of the first known piece of music for saxophone?
Wait, say that again. Sorry.
Who was the composer of the first known tune or song written for saxophone?
Boy, you got me on this.
Try.
No, it had to be, we got to be talking 1800s. Yes?
Yes.
Stravinsky.
No. Uh-oh.
No, not Stravinsky.
No. You can try again.
Who had saxophone first in their orchestra? In classical orchestra. It's not going to be in the United States.
No.
No, this is Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I don't know. I gotta think about this one. It's not Strauss. It's not him. Oh, possibly Debussy.
It is Hector Berlioz.
Fantastic. What's the song?
Yes, it was Chant Sacré. And it was performed by Adolphe Sax, the saxophone inventor.
Right on, I remember this. Oh. I was thinking Symphony Fantastique Berlioz. I was thinking that.
You thought it and you didn't say it. So I have to write down your first failed answer. Oh.
I failed. That's every classical saxophone player is going to be yelling at me now. You're like, what's wrong with you? I know it's Berlioz. I know it. I'm sorry.
You knew it. You knew it. You only had to say it, and you didn't say it. It's okay. We have more question ahead. Let's go with the next one. Do you know how many skulls, like heads, are there in Joseph Haydn's grave?
Whoa, wait, hold on a second. How many heads?
Yeah, heads, skulls, like the head. Only the head. How many are in the grave?
In the grave?
Yes, Joseph Haydn's grave.
Oh man, you got me on this. Yo no sé.
Okay, try with one number.
No siento. 2000.
No.
I don't know.
2000.
2000. I don't know. Just skulls. You say skulls, right?
Yes, skulls in Haydn's grave. There are two, and two. There are too many. 2000.
2000. Final answer.
No, there are two. You know why there are two? I'll tell you. It's very interesting. Joseph Haydn's head was cut when he was dead because they wanted to study his brain. So he cut the head. They studied the brain, and when they finished the study, they went to return the head to the grave, and they realized that there was already one head. So they said, whoa, there is one already. Let's put this one too, and there are two.
Wow.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah, you're teaching me. I just learned. That's very good.
Okay, 2 fails right now, and 3 rights. Very good. Very good. Oh, okay. But be careful because it's very close. Let's go with the next one. Who was the composer of Pictures at an Exhibition, the opera Boris Godunov, and the orchestral tone poem Night on Bald Mountain?
Pictures of an Exhibition. I should know this.
I can give you a clue for this one.
Okay.
The name and the surname starts with M. That's the clue. I can give you another clue. He's from Russia.
From Russia?
Yeah.
Well, clearly, I cannot remember.
It's okay. I'll let you know. I'll tell you. Modest Mugorsky.
What?
Modest Mugorsky.
Mugorsky. Ay.
Un momento. ¿Acabo de decir Mugorsky? ¿He dicho Mugorsky? Yo quería decir Mussorgsky. Es que el ruso no se me da bien, y el ruso hablado en inglés menos. Perdón.
There it is. Okay.
Oh, yep. You failed another one. Ted.
Going down.
You are going down. You start very good, and you are going down. But we are at the last one, and this is the most important one because you can win 4 points.
Okay.
And you can win the opportunity to come back for another interview.
Oh, okay.
So be careful with this one.
Very important, very important.
Let's see. In the album Kind of Blue, Miles Davis played with 2 great saxophone players. One of them was Cannibal Adderley. Who was the other one?
I think I should know this. John Coltrane.
Yeah, you can come back and you pass the quiz. Very good.
Man, Musagorski, you got me on that. I'm gonna be checking out more classical.
Well, you did it very good. You passed the quiz.
I should have had the Berlioz though. I'm bummed out by that.
That was because you knew it. You were thinking it. You were thinking about Berlioz and you didn't say it.
I didn't though. No, I was thinking it was Symphony Fantastique, but it's not. It's that other one. So, Sacre. What is it called again?
Chant sacré.
Chant sacré. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
That is. Well, you did it very good. You passed the quiz. You passed the quiz. That's the important thing, and you can come back. This is the most important thing. I'm so happy you passed. And Ted, before we finish, I'm gonna ask you something, but I don't want you to answer me very quick, because I want to know if you are having fun, if you are enjoying, but I don't want you to tell me with words if you are having fun. I want you to tell me plain if you are liking, you are enjoying, or this interview sucks.
Oh, interesting. If it's, oh, okay, man.
Whoa! So beautiful. You are having fun, that's for sure, because
I'm not supposed to talk right now. I'm not supposed to talk right now. So.
I like it. It was great. It was great. It was great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks so much for having me, Nuria.
Before we go, Ted, tell us where we can find you in the huge internet, your Instagram, your website, and Spotify, YouTube. I'll write down in the video description all the links to find you, but tell us, where are you in internet?
Okay, so my website is www.ted, T-E-D-D, 2 D's, like Tad Dameron, T-E-D-D Baker, B-A-K-A-R.com, www.tedbaker.com. You can find me on Facebook. If you search Ted Baker Saxophone, if you search, you can find me on Instagram at Teddy B Sax, I believe, right?
Yeah.
It's here. No, are you going to put them on the screen?
I'm going to write down.
Teddy B Sax on Instagram, and I am also on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a YouTube page, Ted Baker Music, on YouTube. So please go to that. And I have some things that I put up many years ago on SoundCloud that a lot of people have checked out and really liked on SoundCloud. It's just, I think it's also, yeah, I believe that's also Ted Baker Music, T-E-D-D. Yep.
Okay. Okay. So you are watching. Let's go.
And there's two CDs available. Both on iTunes, and they're all, you can download them from iTunes. You can download them from CD Baby as well. CD Baby.
Okay, great. Ted, you had the opportunity to come back for another interview, but the real question is, would you like to come back?
Yes, sí, claro que sí.
¡Oh, qué bien! ¡Qué bien! I'm glad to hear that, because I want you to come back. It's really, really nice to talk with you. And very interesting. Very, very interesting.
Thank you very much. Mucho gusto. And it was really nice to meet you on the internet here. And thank you so much for having me.
That's a pleasure to have you here. So Ted, thank you so much for your time, for your kindness, for playing, for this great conversation. Really, thank you very much. And we have a second part of the interview. I'll ask you something about Berlioz, so get ready.
Okay, yikes.
And now, a ti que estás viendo este vídeo, espero que hayas disfrutado, por lo menos tanto como yo, de Ted Baker. Y ya sabes, muchas gracias por tu tiempo. Dale like al vídeo si te ha gustado, comenta, comparte con quien quieras, que nos ayudarás a llegar a más gente. Y nos vemos en el próximo vídeo, próxima entrevista, aquí en Músicos en Canal. Ted, thank you very much. See you soon. Take care and un abrazo, a big hug. I send you a hug from Spain.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Bye bye, Ted.
Bye bye. Ciao, ciao. When I was a little kid.
Really?
Oh, it goes up. Oh, it goes up and back down. Oh, wait. Am I supposed to play along right now? Oh, it's on right now. Oh. So I come in right away, right? I think. Wait, let's try that again. I can't
Okay.
tell what I'm doing. I think I have to wait like 8 bars.